This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Imagine this. The best pasta sauce you have ever tasted sits abandoned on a plate. Wasted sauce. That is a tragedy. If only you had used Barilla al Bronzo pasta. Its bronze-cut texture holds your sauce and scoops up every last drop. The Italians call that scarpetta. Capture sauce the Italian way. Barilla al Bronzo. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
No, I don't have a concussion. I'm playing the piano. I'm not doing my Tua impression. I'm playing the piano.
Oh man,
I'm terrible. I'm a terrible
the
person.
whole Tagovailoa family's coming for you, Ryan.
I'll take them all. I don't care. I just don't care. Welcome to the Saturday brunch edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts of the show, and to my right is a man who, if it hasn't clocked on you, he's standing on business. It's Dustin Henry. Dustin, how we doing today? I heard that. I'll tell you that that's the first time I heard that expression was this week on Normal World.
Man, okay.
Now I'm using it like crazy.
You're using it all the time.
I'm
working it into the lexicon. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I had a little birthday celebration last night, and I told you in the green room before the show, Ryan. I told you that I have a major update in the saga of the collapsed picnic table. And that is, my brother-in-law built me a picnic table.
Hey!
So I have a new picnic table. We moved it to the house last night. Now I just have to get rid of the old collapsed one. I'm probably going to just cut it up and put it out there. I might try to save one of the benches. One of the benches is in bad shape. I might be able to save that.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So a special shout out to him. I know he is not listening and watching because we're not doing a movie review today. But shout out to you. Shout out to you, Nick, for doing that. You really surprised me with that.
For as much as he goofs on you for posting pictures of you eating on social media, he's a very good brother-in-law.
The one he posted yesterday was the worst, and it was on two. It was on two outlets, Instagram and Facebook. Oh boy, I can't win. I can't win.
No, you can't.
But how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Yes, I had turn and burn to New Jersey and back yesterday for my metabolic physician appointment. I'm healthy. That's good news.
There you go.
But we're formulating a plan to do some more weight loss, which is great. So we've got a plan, we got a formulation going forward, and I can see him again in October. So, but I brought back some treats from New Jersey. I brought myself some Jersey beer. I got myself some Taylor ham. That's right, Taylor ham.
Oh, where are you, Jersey G?
And I got me some New Jersey bagels. I'm gonna have to save one for you just so you can witness the majesty of what the New Jersey bagel is.
See, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me on your side for the great bagel debate that we haven't set up yet with one Dan Cruz.
That's right. That's right. But no, and we had came home yesterday. Actually, I also went to the Duluth Trading in Mahwah.
Oh, nice.
I got myself some new clothes. So you might be seeing me on the street, out in these streets of Albany, Saratoga, Troy, and Schenectady with some new threads from Duluth Trading. Shout out to Duluth Trading.
Nice.
Great stuff there. So Here we go for the show. We're going to talk about today. We're talking about baseball. We're going to bring in our boy of summer, Kevin Wilson. We're going to talk some baseball. We're going to recap the Stanley Cup Final. Dustin, I know it's still kind of sore subject to you.
Oh man, yeah.
Based on Tuesday's loss, but we have to break it down. Break it down like DX.
Break it down.
We're also going to talk about. We're also going to do a hot food takes. We're going to bring that back. We're going to talk about hot wings flavors, and finally we're going to discuss our favorite athletes to wear the number 45. But before we get on to all that, we just want to remind you about our social media channels, which are right here on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out our other podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. And on the podcast side, you can listen to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and also our YouTube channel after the show. Then finally, get yourself notified. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know that you will be properly notified about show announcements, clips going up, the audio-only version going up after the show. This will be replayed at 2 o'clock Eastern on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. So check it out there. And also hit that subscribe button for them too, because with other podcasts in video form, want you to check it out. Check out our wide array of podcasts and whatnot on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page. And also, we are a live show on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, and the occasional Friday happy hour at 8 o'clock Eastern on Fridays. We might have another one coming up very, very soon, so stay tuned. Hit that notification bell. That way you know you're informed. But rate, review, comment. 5-star rating would be helpful on the podcast side. Leave a review if you can on a podcast platform. And also leave a comment on Spotify. We're also a live show, again, on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter on Tuesdays and Saturdays and the occasional Fridays. And, this is Dustin had a birthday this past week, and I think it's time to play an appropriate tune for that time.
Ring in the chimes. It's chime time.
Happy birthday, chime time. All right, so we're gonna bring in our boy of summer. It's time for Saturdays with Kevin on No Credentials Required. And we're going to talk about all things baseball in the Saturday edition, the Saturdays with Kevin edition. We're going to bring in our boy of summer. He's from Belly Up Fantasy Sports. He's part of the football and the baseball chatter on the YouTube, on our Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. We can check out on Tuesdays and Sundays, I think.
Yeah, Sundays
Absolutely.
Is when you and Vince go. Yeah,
That's right.
So Kevin Wilson is our boy of summer. Kevin, how are we doing this morning?
Oh, guys, I'm doing great. It's always, a pleasure to be here. And, we're in the midst of summer down here.
Yep.
And, but we're doing great. It's Saturday, and I always appreciate my weekends, and it gets kicked off in a very, very great fashion just by being here today.
Yeah. So I forgot to mention the green room before we went on, because we had a little bit of time to chat. On Tuesday, in our region of the upstate New York, it's forecasted to get 100 degrees.
Oh,
yeah, we're gonna hit triple dig.
We're gonna hit triple dig on Tuesday.
Okay. Well,
how about that?
You're trailing behind,
I was
down
gonna
here.
say,
Of course we are.
You're used to it. But gentlemen, I don't want to jinx it, but is this the weekend that breaks the streak, Ryan? I think we got a good shot.
31 consecutive weeks of precipitation of whatever, snow, rain, sleet. I hope it breaks this week, but we're forecasted to get thunderstorms this afternoon. So I think next week, I think we'll have to push until next week. But no, I'm hoping we can break it sometime, because I would like to have a precipitation-free weekend at some point.
Yes,
Throughout
I would like to actually uncover my smoker and smoke some meat. Is that too much to ask, weather gods?
Hold on. Wait. I got some breaking news. This just in. Hang on. I just got a notification from the weather gods. They said no.
No.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about meteorological wonders. We're here to talk about baseball. And we're going to start off with the American League East, which we talked about on this show with our friend of the show, Eric Arditi of Barstool Sports a couple of months ago.
Yes.
Actually, last month. It was last month we talked about it.
It was last month. Wow.
It was last month we talked about it. And we talked about the American League East being awful. We talked about the Yankees being in first place by 1.5 miles, with all the other teams trailing by at least, at that time, it was at least 6 or 7 games. And now here we are, first day of summer, officially the solstice. The summer solstice is tonight, June 21st, and these are the standings on the American League East. The New York Yankees sit in first place at 43-32, followed by the Tampa Bay Rays.
Man.
A game and a half behind, 42-34. Behind them, the team I thought in the American League was going to have 100 losses this year, the Toronto Blue Jays, are 40-35. So there's that no credentials required stink. Right behind them, a game behind the Toronto Blue Jays, the Boston Red Sox at 40-37. And
The
finally,
sweep
10
of the
games.
Yankees helped.
Yeah, the sweep of the Yankees definitely helped. Then last place, but they're kind of getting their act together. The Baltimore Orioles, 33-42. They're 10 games behind, but they beat the Yankees last night, and they're 6 games behind in the wild card. Are they turning things around? We don't know. Again, long season. This is what baseball is all about. It's a long season. And Snowman chicken in saying sports ball with the international super villain. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, special shout out to Snowman. I believe he was the very first to wish me a happy birthday. He was on it. Hey. That man was up late. But shout out to you, Snowman. Thanks for that.
He just wanted to be the first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk about this American League East division, Kevin.
Okay.
I just read the standings. Yankees have been on the struggle bus for the last week and a half or so. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Meanwhile, the rest of the division 6-4, 5-5. Boston's 8-2 in their last 10. Baltimore 7-3 in their last 10. What was once a garbage division is now the hottest division race in Major League Baseball.
I wouldn't do that.
Hold on. Based on the other standings in the major leagues, because look, AL Central, Detroit's up 9.5 on Kansas City and Cleveland, 10 on Minnesota. Houston, they're up 5. They were in third place at one point. Fourth place at one point. Now they're in first place by 5 games over Seattle. Philly and the Mets, they're battling it out, but the rest of the East is trash. The Cubs are in the Central, 4.5 up on the Brewers and the Cardinals, and 6.5 up on the Reds. Though you could argue the NL West is the hottest. They've been the hottest division in baseball since the beginning of the season. But I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
Right now, this very point on June 21st, the year of our Lord 2025.
Okay.
What has been in your eyes the biggest factor of why this division now this division race is suddenly heating up?
Well, there are a couple of factors. One is every team goes through struggles, and the Yankees are in the midst of that right now. And if you go back in history, you'll see that early on, well, this isn't really early on, this is about halfway through, the Yankees go through these struggles every single year, and all the Yankee fans freak out, thinking, oh no, we're going to go down the drain. Okay, Dustin, you're one of them. Okay.
Yeah. I always.
And they pull out of it. But the thing that really gets me here is, okay, so they lost some games, but to not score a run in 30 consecutive innings, that cannot be defended in any way, shape, or form, especially when it was the Angels that nobody's fallen all over themselves to trade for an Angels pitcher. So, and maybe about the best thing you could say about this is that Aaron Judge, maybe he's going through it because he goes through slumps. Yeah. And in the past, they've been at the very worst time for the Yankees. So maybe he's getting out of the way early. He hit a home run yesterday. I saw that live.
Ooh, hit a home run and a loss. Yeah.
Well, Okay, so maybe he's getting that out of the way early. And the other factor is that the Tampa Bay Rays have played more home games than any other team, and they would be in first place, but they haven't taken advantage really of that home heavy schedule because they don't want in Florida in August is awful. And so they're trying to get these games in, and it rains every day in Florida at 4:00 and 5:00. So the question is, can Tampa, because this is going to even out, can they win when they're playing the majority of their games on the road? And I know that even I, and I like Tampa. Tampa's done some great things. You question them at your peril. And I thought, well, Tampa's done this year. Well, they've shown. Even I can't. Don't set them off to the side. But can they win when they have to play most of their games on the road? We're going to see on that. I think the Yankees will get things straightened out, and they'll be fine. I still think they're going to win this division.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a shot, but I'm just always worried about the pitching because, as you pointed out, Kevin, every team goes through slumps, and the Yankees seem to they go through periods where they look like one of the hottest teams in baseball offensively, and then they just die. That's what happens. They just all the hitters seem to slump at the same time. It's not like some other teams where like certain hitters slump and then they pick it up and the teams are able to keep themselves afloat. It just seems like every year all the Yankees or their main bats seem to slump at the same time. Even Grisham's cooled down a little bit and he was going off, early to start the season and into the mid-season. And I just feel like sometimes the Yankees have this bad habit of always all slumping at the same time. I was hoping Giancarlo Stanton would come back with a hot bat, but also you don't know how that messes with the lineup chemistry. I'm a big believer in lineup chemistry. If it's working, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. And I think that's truer in baseball than any other sport. I think lineup chemistry matters the most in baseball for some reason, for whatever it feels like. And gentlemen, since we're on the subject of the AL East, I know that this wasn't in the show rundown we discussed, but we have to talk about the Rafael Devers trade and how how Boston handled this, because I feel like Boston really fumbled the bag. Because guess fans. What? Devers, he gets to San Francisco. He goes, I'll play wherever they want me to play.
Here we go.
Yeah, we definitely have to talk about this, Dustin, because it's very curious the way this went down, because everybody in Boston was feeling great. They had just gotten done sweeping the Yankees, and they were right there on the wild card, after they were pretty much DOA as well. And so then all of a sudden they do this trade. And who they traded for, I think, is a critical part of this, because they could have, just like with the Mavericks, you're telling me this is all they could get for Rafael Devers. The timing of this fumbled the bag. What they got was fumbled the bag, and they didn't look at the calendar because Boston is in San Francisco right now. Why in the world would you want to make this trade knowing that in 1 week you're going to have to face this guy? So I am absolutely out. Vince and I talked about, because we went on the air 1 hour after this trade happened.
1 hour after it broke.
And neither of us get this on the Boston side. He must have just finally said, I'm out. And so, but they could have done. There's got to be a better way to handle this for the Boston Red Sox, but they're still winning. So I don't get this at all. In any San Francisco, yay for them. I am, as you all know, I'm a Dodger guy. Yeah. This works extraordinarily well for them.
I couldn't have told from the background you have. There, Kevin.
Yeah, there's no indication back there whatsoever.
Never.
But just this move alone, and I know you guys are in New York and you hate Boston anyway.
Oh,
but,
I have to play. I have to play the PSA. Then I have to play the PSA just.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and do that right here.
From our tribal chief.
Okay.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Okay, there it is right there. And I have to say, just the way they handled this trade, Boston needs to go down the drain.
But I don't know if they will.
I don't know if they will either.
And Ryan, I got to get, if you have any thoughts on the Devers trade, I'd like to hear them because we haven't gotten a chance to discuss it. But I also, Ryan, you and I just can't. This is why we brought Kevin in, because we can't talk baseball anymore. We talked about the Yankees and they were on a hot streak and they promptly go in the toilet. We picked Baltimore to go to the World Series. We see what happens. You and I, it's bad.
It's the chemical toilet of no credentials required. Yeah. Everything that we predict goes right there. Everything from the Jets to the Super Bowl to Baltimore winning the World Series.
Oh, man.
I have some thoughts about this trade. I have a couple of thoughts. Two things can be true at the same time. A, you make yourself expendable when you sign Alex Bregman. Because I think Devers saw the writing on the wall as soon as they signed Alex Bregman to that contract. B, you can make yourself such a locker room cancer that they want to ship you out. I don't know if it was a locker room cancer. I don't pay that much attention to Boston's sports because F Boston. Also because I'm a Yankees guy, so I pay more attention to the Yankees. Although I should start paying more attention to every team in the East because they're the primary competitors. But I don't know if Devers was a locker room cancer or was just causing trouble for the sake of wanting to be traded. But if it's true, then yeah, they had to trade him. They had to make a choice. They had to make a choice because you have Bregman at third. He's probably the better defense. He's probably the better defensive third baseman.
There's no probably. He is.
Then
yeah.
Okay. Then he is.
He's a gold glove third baseman, and Devers has the iron glove. That's the best way to put that.
So he'll be much more comfortable playing whatever position. I'll play whatever position they want me to play because I'm happy I'm out of there.
Yeah.
That's basically what it came down to when you said that quote that he's happy to play anywhere he wants.
Yeah.
Anywhere they'll put him. That tells me he was not happy in Boston. He was willing to sit and sulk for however long he was going to be in Boston before they traded him out. And part of it, I understand Boston fans saying, yeah, this ownership group, the Fenway ownership group, or whoever's part of that ownership group that's not named John Henry, hates the fans. Absolutely hates the fans. They don't want to see. They don't want to see their favorite players on the field. They just want to get them out of here so they can either save money or because he's due for a contract extension. He was a free agent after this season anyway. So San Francisco's going to get him for probably a season unless they decide to extend him, depending on how he does with them.
I think if I may, part of it might be Boston's GM, whose name is escaping me, but there are things coming out that basically the way that he handled this and the way he approached Devers about changing positions, like they didn't talk to him about it. They just said, you're playing here. And then Devers said, apparently there's been things that are coming out, and I haven't followed it totally, but apparently Boston's GM, the way that he handled this specifically, left a lot to be desired. And they think that there was room to salvage the relationship, but Boston's GM made some mistakes in that department.
It's Brian or O'Halloran.
Oh, yes, that's right.
You could have tortured me to death, and I wouldn't have.
I know. I wouldn't have got that. We'll have to ask resident credhead, our buddy Scott. He's a Boston sports guy for the most part, except he loves the Tar Heels more than any other team. He loves North Carolina. Yeah, I'll have to ask him, what do you think of the job O'Halloran's doing? I'm sure he'll have some thoughts.
I know what he'll say. Oh, he's terrible.
Yeah.
He'll say it just like that in that cadence. But switching back to the AL East,
Yeah.
I've noticed Toronto is starting to climb up the standings. What's been their secret sauce? Have they drank the Michael's secret stuff?
I think so.
What's up with them?
Well, it's interesting because they have a negative run differential.
Yeah, they do.
and so they're winning by, you talk about smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of mirage, I think, that's going on here. And Anthony Santander, who I thought was going to go up there and have a big season, has completely gone off the rails. But despite all that, and my namesake, Kevin Gossman, was awful this week. But still, they're winning their games somehow. And their offense is going to have to compensate for their pitching, I think. But they're right here. And I didn't think that was going to happen this year. And it's going to be interesting, because we're almost in July. And this is going to be an interesting race. All of us thought, well, this whole division, flush them. Well, hold the flush, because we're going to see some interesting baseball coming down the stretch.
So what you're saying basically is that the Toronto Blue Jays are the 2022 Minnesota.
I knew it was coming. Thank you. That's why you're my host, because I was going to say it if you didn't. We will continue.
There's a few teams like that right now. Kansas City is another one. They're at 500. So is Cleveland, and they have negative run differentials, which is crazy.
The Royals' offense has been awful.
Yeah,
straight awful, even though they swept the Rangers some way. But their pitching has been outstanding. That's how they're doing it.
Yeah, and they called up Calgione, I think.
Yeah. However you pronounce that, I would appreciate you saying that instead of me.
And I think he might be starting to find it a little bit. So who knows? Maybe he
hit his first 2 home runs the other day.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the spark their offense needs. But yeah, they're pitching. Chris Bubich, especially, he's been outstanding for the most part.
That's right. He had a recent couple of stumbles, but overall he's been great. Michael Walker has been good. Lugo's been good, and I liked Kansas City going into the season, but I thought their offense was going to be a lot better than it has been. And if it doesn't get better, that they can pitch till doomsday. It's not going to help.
I think the player you're referring to is Jack Caglianone.
Yeah, Jack Caglione. Yeah,
right. So that's why I was saying, you guys go ahead and pronounce that last name. So
taken care of. So I'm good at pronouncing names. One more quick thing before we go to our break. I do want to address one person, maybe, and you probably talked about him on the show, who's having the most quiet, successful season ever. He actually just surpassed Aaron Judge for the league leader in home runs.
That's right.
Cal Raleigh, Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
Let's talk about him a little bit, Kevin.
Okay. He has surpassed the all-time record for most home runs by a catcher by about, I read it this morning. I forget what the exact number is.
Before the All-Star break.
Yeah, before the All-Star break. He's beaten it like by 16 games or something crazy.
Wow.
Like that. And he's plays DH, so he can be in their lineup. And the Mariners are another team that has pitching, but their offense has been lacking. But this guy has just been going bonkers. And you're looking at if the Mariners were playing better, I know Aaron Judge is the MVP, I know that. But this guy right here would be right in the conversation if the Mariners could just stay in the race. But they do this every year. Houston starts off slow, but then they get kicked up and they take over first place, and Seattle goes to the back of the bus every year. So if it wasn't for that, this guy right here is having one of the greatest seasons I've seen. And it was only one player overall has hit more home runs before the All-Star break, that's Barry Bonds. That's the kind of season this dude's having right here. So if he's not the All-Star starter at catcher, then they just need to dismantle the whole thing because this guy is playing that well.
Yeah, I've said last week that I think All-Star games are kind of passé, but that's just me. I mean, I know it's the summer. I know it's tradition. I know it's the summer classic. It's tradition, but it's kind of crazy. But yeah. So Cal Raleigh, quietly having the best season in his career, just kind of out of nowhere.
Right.
But let me go ahead and take us to a quick commercial break. We're going to feature one of our new affiliate sponsors at No Credentials Required. That's Royal Retros. Remember when jerseys were bold, mustaches were glorious, and shorts were way too short? Good news. You can bring back all that retro magic, minus the chafing, with Royal Retros. They got vintage style football, baseball, basketball, and hockey gear that screams, I was born in the wrong era, but I look amazing. Rock a jersey that makes people say, wait, is that from the 80s? Yes, it is, and you look fantastic. Head to royalretros.com. Use the promo code CREDHEAD, CREDHEAD, at checkout for 10% off your order. That's CREDHEAD, CREDHEAD. Which it gives you and tells people that you have excellent taste in throwbacks. Royal Retros, because your fandom deserves a little flair and a lot of polyester. So the shirt I'm wearing today is my Baltimore Stallions 1995 Champions t-shirt, which I bought as a customer before Royal Retros jumped on as an affiliate sponsor. And I just want to spotlight one team, and we're going to do this every time we do a read for Royal Retros. We're going to feature a team that is long past and talk about them for a moment. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Houston Aeros, AEROS of the WHA. The Houston Aeros were established in 1972 as the Dayton Aeros, one of the 12 original members of the World Hockey Association. However, Dayton didn't have a suitable arena, so the team was quickly moved to Houston, where it became one of the league's most successful teams on the ice and at the ticket window. In their second season, former NHL great Gordie Howe came out of retirement and joined the Aeros to play alongside his sons Mark and Marty. Despite their popularity and consistently high level of play, the Aeros were not seriously considered as part of the proposed merger with the National Hockey League, and the team disbanded before the WHA's final campaign. That's very sad. In 1994, the International Hockey League granted Houston an expansion franchise that was also named the Houston Aeros. After the collapse of the IHL in 2001, they, along with a few other clubs, joined the American Hockey League, and in 2013, they moved to Iowa to become the Iowa Wild. And this is one of their shirts that they're promoting on their website for the Houston Aeros. Look at that sweatshirt.
Oh, man. That thing is awesome.
That blue color, that light blue with that logo is beautiful.
Yeah. I might have to buy that right after the show because, as you know, I'm a fan of that color, Ryan, because that's the color of my No Credentials Required t-shirt. Shout out to our Bonfire store. Check it out.
Right. It's right. Also,
but man, this is amazing. I'm super excited about this affiliate right now. Like I'm probably going to get a Whalers shirt. I love my Oilers, but I'm going to get a Whalers shirt off this thing.
It also got in royal blue, which is there. It is.
Oh, that looks nice too. That looks a little bit like KC. Chris Bubich could be rocking that.
But I like the light blue.
Yeah, that goes a lot better with the Houston Mystique, I think.
Yeah. So royalretros.com. You can get that sweatshirt along with many other retro throwback designs from teams that no longer exist, teams that never existed but were proposed, or teams that currently are playing, and they just have a retro design. They also have AF1 gear for Arena Football 1. Playoffs begin this weekend. Albany Firebirds are at home this week, tonight actually, against the Salina Liberty. So if they win, they go to the championship next weekend. They also got UFL gear. We got XFL 1.0 and 2.0.
Oh, man.
Stuff. So all that stuff from past and present XFL, USFL, same thing with them. So great stuff. If you love throwback stuff, Royal Retros is where you want to go. Again, Promo code CREDHEAD, CREDHEAD at checkout, 10% off your order, and they do free shipping for every order over $100. So,
Wow.
Royal Retro.
You talk about XFL. I wonder if they remember the shirt that guy, the jersey that had on the back. He hate me.
He hate me. They
yeah,
sell
Rod
that one.
Smart. Yeah,
Rod Smart. Yep, he was in Super Bowl. He was in a Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers as a kick returner.
He was. Yeah,
yeah. So I'm sure they have the. I'm sure you can get yourself a custom "He Hate Me" shirt with the Las Vegas Outlaws, and actually there it is on the site. So yeah, but Royal Retros, happy to have them as an affiliate sponsor with no credentials required. All right, we gotta bring this up because we have to, because it happened this week. Stanley Cup recap.
And
Florida Panthers, 6 games. They defeat the Dustin's Edmonton Oilers in 6 games to win their second consecutive Stanley Cup. We got to discuss, are the Panthers going to run it back? Do the Oilers need to retool at certain areas? There's been rumors, although they're unsubstantiated, of Connor McDavid being linked to be traded out of Edmonton, but those are just rumors. They're unsubstantiated. Also, the season just freaking ended on Tuesday. Can we stop with those rumors already?
Yeah,
Come
can
on.
you put it in neutral for just a little bit?
Yeah, put yourself in idle. We'll do trade talks in a moment. Although there have been some trades and some signings after the season ended. Winnipeg signed Jonathan Taves. He's coming back to the NHL.
I'm glad he's coming back.
Me too. Mason
Hopefully
Marchment.
he can be healthy. That's the key to that.
Yeah. And Mason Marchment was traded by the Stars to the Seattle Kraken yesterday for some draft picks. And
they needed money. They needed some relief because they had no money to spend.
They had, I think it was $450,000 left in cap space after they extended Duchesne. And then look,
they had to do that.
They also might be Jason Robertson's apparently on the trading block too. So, but we'll discuss that in other episodes because the trade free agency actually
neutral.
starts.
Gotcha.
Free agency starts next Tuesday, the 1st already.
Okay.
But let's do a postmortem of the Stanley Cup Final. Dustin, I have to ask because you're the resident Oilers fan.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Sad, straight up, because this to me, I've been very vocal about it. And some people can call me a pessimist. They can call me whatever they want. But this feels like that 06 team. That 06 team had a very specific window. Mm-hmm. This Oilers team, the window was a little bit longer, but the time is running out on the Connor McDavid candle in Edmonton. I truly believe that. I hope he signs an extension. I hope he stays. But until the Oilers finally address goaltending, because I think they're pretty solid everywhere else, but their goaltending has shown, no disrespect to Skinner or Calvin Pickard, but their goaltending does not have enough to get them over the hump to win the cup. It's not enough. It's enough to get you to the Western Conference Finals. It's enough to get you past the Western Conference Finals, but it is not enough to get you to win the Stanley Cup. And let me just say, hats off to the Florida Panthers. They proved they were the better team. They proved they were more physical. This year's version of the Oilers, definitely more physical, definitely hold up. But honestly, the 2 games that the Oilers lost decisively, it were a more dominant performance by the Panthers, especially the last game. The last game that they lost, it was just my friend Kenny, he summed it up perfectly. He said that game was just a sad game. He said it was so sad. He said the Oilers finally scored a goal to kind of get some dignity back, but it was over. And shout out to Playmaker. He wished me luck before the Stanley Cup Finals. Friend of the show, Playmaker. He just said, he said this win was more dominant. And I said, you know what, Playmaker, I agree with you. Outside of I said in game 2, I said, if the Oilers won that game as well, after going to overtime, that was their shot. That was their shot to take the momentum in the series. And that was the thing. But they need to address goaltending because McDavid's contract runs through 2026. Honestly, I think he's gone. And if they want to, I mean, Draisaitl extended, But until they address goaltending, I think McDavid's going to be like, you're not doing enough. He's going to get to the point where he just wants to win. And I don't think some of the rumors, you addressed them, some of the rumors have him going to Toronto. He and Tavares.
No. Tavares is a free agent this after this season. So I don't think he's going back to Toronto.
I forgot about that.
Mitch Marner is going to pretty much say goodbye too. But again, we're putting it in idle.
Put that to bed.
That talk in idle.
But I mean, hats off to the Panthers. They made that Marchand trade at the perfect time. And the Kachuk brothers doing what they did. And Bobrovsky, he was the difference in this series. Yeah. Bobrovsky was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And, there were times where Skinner looked up to the task, and Calvin Pickard coming into the Stanley Cup Final, and when he had to save the game for the Oilers, he was 7-0 in postseason play up to that point, but then he faltered. They just didn't have the goaltending. It wasn't enough. And I can't imagine. I know how frustrated Connor McDavid was after last year's series. We all saw it. And felt like, especially coming back from 3-0 down, the Oilers gave everything they had last year. And then they come up and they try again. And Leon Draisaitl was so much better in these playoffs. He was unbelievable, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
I think if the Oilers won the Stanley Cup, Leon Draisaitl was definitely the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, because he set a record with four overtime goals in the postseason, which is pretty amazing. A couple comments in the comment section from James. Benching Skinner is a tactic that only works once per postseason. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I
agree. And he also said Skinner was an easy scapegoat in Game 3. He did himself no favors in the others. You could also say he was a scapegoat in Game 2 as well, because Oilers were up 3-2 after the first period in that game.
Yeah,
they were flying. They had a lot of momentum. And then let's those 2 goals in the second period. Then Oilers had to tie it up in the last 17 and a half seconds of that game.
Yep.
To force overtime, which went to double overtime.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you're right, Dustin. If the Oilers win Game 2, it's an entirely different series.
Yep.
It's an entirely different series. And I looked at the spot track. I looked on the spot track to see what the contracts were for Skinner and Pickard, respectively. You know the reason why they're still on the roster?
The contracts?
Because of the contracts.
Yeah.
Skinner's making $2.5 million next season. Pickard's making $1 million next season. The salary cap does go up this season, this postseason with the NHL. So my feeling is that the Oilers do have, like you said, Dustin, the Oilers have to retool. They have to find some goaltending. Do they reach out to? I know Anaheim's been doing some shuffling with their rosters. They brought in from the New York Rangers, Chris Kreider. They brought him in. Joel Quenneville's the new coach of the team.
The Q-Stash is back.
The Q-Stash is back. But I have to wonder if Edmonton, if Stan Bowen's going to reach out to Anaheim, to the GM in Anaheim, and say, "Hey, what do you want? What do you want for John Gibson? Because we need goaltending. We need some goaltending." And John Gibson's a very good goaltender, even though he's stuck on an Anaheim Ducks team has been absolutely hot garbage the last 5 seasons. They need and John Gibson's has that reputation of being a decent goaltender. So I wonder if we have to reach out to him, reach out to the general manager there. Maybe make some calls to other teams. I know Jake Allen from the New Jersey Devils. He's going to be a free agent this postseason. So yeah, you definitely that's the thing that you got to stop the bleeding with. I think part of the reason why you can't get the Oilers can't get a decent goaltender, it's that albatross of a Darnell Nurse contract.
Yeah, I was about to say Darnell Nurse. He gets a lot of hate because of the massive contract he got. Mm-hmm. He is not a bad defenseman, but that contract hurts the team. So Darnell Nurse is an easy scapegoat.
Yeah, he's an easy scapegoat in regards to that, in regards to the salary cap. But I also have to wonder if you can do like you do in the. I know in the NFL, you see those big contracts, but they often get they often get restructured because they get needed for salary cap purposes. I don't know if they do that in the NHL. That would be one thing I would do if I were the GM, and just restructure some money to get yourselves a quality goaltender. But on the flip side, the Florida Panthers are talking about running it back.
They could do it.
Yeah. Sam Bennett's a free agent. Brad Marchand's a free agent. I have to wonder, and Bennett has, I don't know if this is true or not. He said, I don't know if he's been on record, but it sounds like he wants to stay in Florida. I don't blame him.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Because the Panthers are one Stanley Cup away from becoming an actual dynasty. Like, you win 3 in a row, or you win 3.
That's right. 3 is the magic number with that.
Yeah. If you win 3 in a date in a time span, like, I'll say it, my New Jersey Devils, they were a dynasty back in the day. They had 3 cups in 8 seasons. Detroit Red Wings had 3 cups in, I think, 6 seasons, 97, 98, and 2002. That's a dynasty. You could argue the Penguins, but that's not here nor there.
I would argue the Penguins.
Okay.
I'll
So,
just throw that in there.
so Florida Panthers, I think I gotta say, it's fun watching Paul Maurice's press conferences, because he can say the stuff now. He can get away with saying the stuff now that he wants to in Florida. He couldn't get away with that in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
He would get roasted and be run out by the media in Winnipeg for what he's been saying in Florida, because I think just have fun with it. It's a lot more relaxed. But Kevin, I want to get your thoughts on the Stanley Cup Final. We're gonna put this in a nice tight bow.
Okay. And I hate to rub in the wounds, Dustin, but there it is.
Oh no!
Oh man, you have forsaken your stars for that, Kevin.
Well, as I explained, it's part of the marriage contract here that I support any and all Cats teams.
I can hear the Mrs. Wilson.
That's right. So
she is.
But Dustin, a couple things here. One, I think you nailed it right on the head, because if you have 2 goaltenders, you don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Yeah.
And you have to have a guy that can lock things down, especially in hockey, because the goaltender is the most important position anywhere in that sport, especially in the playoffs. And the other thing is it really surprises me, because after in Game 4, Florida takes a 3-0 lead. They had just blown the doors off of them in Game 3, but here comes Edmonton. They come back and they actually win that game, sending it back home. Where was the response in Games 5 and 6? Because Florida just flattened them.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, 2-0 in Game 5, and then they just ran out of any kind of energy. It looked like they didn't respond that time, because before that we had all these overtime games that looked like it was going to be a classic finals, but Edmonton didn't respond in Games 5 or 6. So that really surprised me. And you got to right. They've got to do something about goaltending, because you can't have guys during the regular season. You can get away with that, because you can't have one guy play the entire season in the regular season. So you need 2. I get that, but in the postseason, you have to have that lockdown guy, and they don't. So that they need to address and get that straightened out one way or another.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing, Kevin. We talked last week about this being an all-time Stanley Cup Final.
That's right.
Through the
and
first
it was
4
headed
games
that way.
going to overtime. Through the first 4 games going to overtime.
Yes.
And then it was like one of those blockbuster movies that start out like, oh, this is a great start. I love this movie. It's a great start. I'm emotionally invested, and the ending was flat.
Yeah,
and it was bad.
It was definitely flat. And that, like I said, was the most shocking thing of all to me in this series.
Couple of comments before we go to hot food takes. Brother Josiah checking in saying good morning. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you joining us. And James saying Edmonton responded all right with an Evander Kane misconduct. Lots of decisions for Stan Bowman in the offseason, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And one of them might be Evander Kane.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Evander Kane, he's had a good run in Edmonton. As much controversy as the signing brought, playing wise, he's done well. But is it worth it? And they got to figure out ways to hang on to certain people and make tough decisions.
Yeah, and speaking of players, controversial players, remember when Edmonton signed Corey Perry? Corey Perry has been to the last 5 Stanley Cup Final, and is over. But don't forget, he won a cup in 2007 with Anaheim. People seem to forget that.
Yeah, so. He did. And the thing is, like I said it, and I'm predicting it here, and maybe it's a reverse jinx considering how Ryan and I's predictions have gone in other sports so far this season.
Yeah.
The Oilers will not make the Stanley Cup Finals next year. They are not going to be the 90s Buffalo Bills and keep going back. It's so hard to do twice what they've just done. And that just proves how good the Panthers are because they've gone twice in a row and won it.
Right. They gone 3 times in a row.
You got 3 times.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And
they lost the first time, and then
Yep.
They did the reverse Tampa Bay Lightning, where Tampa Bay won the first 2 and then lost the last one.
Yep. And to think the state of Florida is now the state of hockey in America. It's fun.
People have such a problem with that, but I
don't care.
Don't care whatsoever.
Don't care.
Beat them. Every team. That's right. Beat them.
You don't like them? Beat them.
Beat them.
All right. Speaking of beating them, it's hot food takes time. That burger.
There it is. I'm so glad it's back.
There's something in that burger, man.
There is. Something unnatural.
That's something that's right, Dustin. That's something that's just supernatural going on there or something.
All right.
Something's weird.
So we'll go quickly through this hot wings battle. Dustin and I discussed this over text message what we're going to do for hot food takes, and we're like, we haven't done hot wings yet. We haven't done wings flavors, so we'll give our 3 favorites before we move on to our favorite athletes to wear the number 45. And I'm going to start with the birthday boy over here, Dustin, who had a birthday this week. Let's get your top 3.
All right, top 3. Flavors. I'm going to do this in my preferred order. So the gold medalist is anytime there's a hot garlic or spicy garlic, I love it. Shout out to B-Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings. I always get the hot garlic. That's my number 1 flavor because I love garlic and I love the traditional buffalo wing sauce. So you put them together in some form, it's always good. Always good. My number 2, this was a tough toss-up for me, but garlic parm wings. When I like to change the pace, I always go garlic parm. If garlic parm are done right and effort is put into it, they are amazing. They're tough to beat. Garlic parm, when it's not done right, can be pretty bad. I had one time where it was just big chunks of garlic and shavings of Parmesan cheese on it. That did not work for me, brother.
And those go right through you too.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And my number 3, this might be like a regional thing. I don't know. I almost was going to pick a dry rub because I prefer a dry rub rib, but we're not talking about ribs on this show. So my final wing is my golden barbecue, made popular around here by Ravenswood, Ryan. If you haven't had their golden barbecue wings with their 24 karat gold sauce, anytime I see golden barbecue on the menu, I don't know what. I think it's partially a mustard base, but then they mix it with
because it's basically Carolina barbecue.
Yeah, I love that. That's my 3rd place. Those are my top 3. And with that, I pass it on to you, gentlemen. I recommend all 3 flavors I just shout out right there.
All right, Kevin, go ahead. Give your top 3.
Okay, so number 1 for me is one that you can't find almost anywhere, but that's lime pepper.
Oh, lime pepper. I've heard of lemon pepper. Okay. I don't know lime pepper.
Lime pepper is something you can't really find anywhere, but it is outstanding. And in lieu of that, because you can't find it, number 2 comes in at lemon pepper.
Okay.
I like the dry rubs. And number 3 is Cajun. I have to be real careful about what kind of Cajun wings I get my hands on because I can't do spicy. And So, but those are my three. I could sit there. You give me some wings and some ranch dressing. The ranch dressing is also critical in this operation. Okay. Blue cheese has no reason to exist on this earth. So keep that way away from my wings, please. And, but those are my three choices right there.
All right. I'll have to try this lime pepper. I'm on a mission now, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, I have some news for you.
Okay.
You can find lime pepper seasoning on Amazon.
Ooh, I'm going to buy that after the show.
See, that's critical information right there, Ryan.
Look, if people say, I can't find it anywhere, go to Amazon. They're going to have it. And shout out Amazon if you want to be a sponsor with No Credentials.
Yeah, come on.
Do that.
We're not selling out. We're buying in. All right, my three. I'll go in ascending order. So I'll start with number 3. Number 3 is the teriyaki flavor they have at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
The Asian teriyaki. Dig
okay.
that.
Okay.
Number 2, classic OG buffalo wing sauce, like Frank's Red Hot or something like that. But number 1 for me with a bullet. When we used to have wings over Albany, Saratoga.
Yes, I miss
it too. Although the one time it took forever to bring our order.
I know, but that was my mistake. We were ordering them on Monday Night Football, probably one of the busiest nights of the year. So.
Yep. And we ordered them late too, I think I remember.
We did.
But they had a West Texas mesquite dry rub that was out of this world. It was so good. And by the way, I'm neither team blue cheese nor my team ranch. I keep it simple. I do get a lot of carrots and celery though. So
okay,
gotta get my vegetables in. Gotta keep the.
I could do carrots. I could do celery. The celery, however, does not go over the wife's direction. So
okay,
I get all the celery right here.
I get the carrots and celery because I gotta keep my girlish figure.
Yes.
Going.
Okay.
So, but that's been a hot food takes.
I love it, and you know what? I'm thinking, Ryan.
Okay.
Apparently, we have wing stops around here now.
Yes, in Queensbury, there's a wing stop.
Is a great place.
Okay, I was going to ask because we haven't had them. We pretty much got Buffalo Wild Wings up here, Kevin. So I'm excited to try Wingstop. And
Wingstop is a good place. They've got a lot of variety, and you could do atomic or something like that. It'll blow your stomach lining out. But
Dustin, there is a Wingstop on Central Ave.
All right, we're going.
We're going.
We're going. We're going. You and I, buddy. We're going.
All right.
Maybe we'll get Scott the cred head.
You know, we should definitely do this during our 2-week break.
And then if you go to Wingstop, this is critical also. Get they got these little corns on the cob, and you can put whatever flavor you want on them.
Oh, to try some of the flavors. I like that. I like that.
Okay. All right. So we're going to conclude our show with our favorite athletes to wear the number 45 because, gentlemen, we're already at the 45th episode of No Credentials Required of 2025, the year of our Lord. And we've been breaking down our favorite athletes to wear the number 45. Not the greatest athletes, our favorite athletes to wear the number 45. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give Kevin the go-ahead here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll let Kevin go ahead. Who is your favorite number 45?
Well, as I advised you, Ryan, you need to get the Homer alert ready.
There it is. Homer alert.
Because I told Dustin this is where I was going to go as soon as I saw this, because it's number 45 is a legend up in Seattle.
Yes,
and that's Kenny Easley.
Yep.
Okay, and you take out the wide receiver for the Seahawks. This guy was the number 2 star that hit the Seattle Seahawks. And he was a first-round draft pick out of UCLA. Went up there. He played 7 years in Seattle before a kidney problem knocked him out. He was an NFL Player of the Year. He was in Pro Bowls. He is in the NFL's Hall of Fame. So this guy right here, when you talk about Seattle Seahawks greats, he's got to be in the conversation. And we all know Steve Largent's number 1.
Yeah.
There's no argument. There's no way anybody could talk me off of that perch. But this guy could be in there at number 2, I think. Maybe Walter Jones, some of these other guys, Cortez Kennedy.
Yeah.
But this guy deserves to be talked about as the second greatest Seahawk player of all time.
Yeah.
God bless you, Mrs.
I didn't
Wilson.
get to
heard the sneeze in the background.
I didn't get to watch Easley play, in real time. I've only seen him via tape and everything. The only argument I would make, and this is probably spoiling my take for later episodes of the year, I would make a strong case for Walter Jones at number 2. But I think Kenny Easley beats him out. Kenny Easley, a legend for sure.
All right. Dustin, your favorite number 45.
All right. Well, Kevin was gracious enough to let me know. He said, hey, I'm going Easley. I said, okay. And then, Ryan, I had some deliberations because I feel bad about this. Okay. If we go all the way back to episode 23, I picked Don Mattingly because Don Mattingly is my favorite Yankee of all time. He was one of my favorite people to watch play baseball growing up. I loved his stash. I loved his sideburns. I feel bad. Similarly to the way that Larry Bird's career ended with his back, Mattingly, similar things. You wonder what could have been if he was healthy. I love Donnie baseball. He was on a lot of terrible Yankee teams when I was growing up. So I didn't pick MJ at number 23. And I'm not picking him at 45. I thought about doing it, but everybody knows the greatness of Michael Jordan. If you grew up in the 80s, 90s, any time, everyone knows about Michael Jordan. Everyone knows that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. But I decided to go with a player that I wanted to give him a special shout out. He's near and dear to my heart. I loved watching this guy growing up. And I said, who wore number 45? And I thought about it and I was like, wait, I think this guy wore number 45. If you've watched my headline during the show, it says warm up the chili because I'm talking about one Chili Davis.
Hey.
I loved watching Chili Davis play for the Yankees. He wore number 45. He's better than you think. Take a look at his career numbers. He hit his career batting average 274. Pretty good. His career OPS 811, pretty good. His slugging percentage, 451, and he hit 350 home runs. He played for a lot of time. Anytime you're getting close to 400 home runs, you're doing something right. And he played up until I think he retired in 99, if memory serves.
He did.
But he started playing in 81. I watched this guy. I was born in 1983. I watched this guy play for most of my early life. I always loved Chili Davis. Now, part of it is I thought he had one of the coolest names out there. But he always seemed to come up with a home run or a big hit during those Yankee runs when you needed it. Even if he was coming off the bench, they would pinch hit Chili Davis sometimes. He would do it. He is... Some of these numbers are, I'm going to be real with you all. Some of these numbers, it's tough to pick a player for because you can't. But this is one of those cases when I started thinking 45, Chili Davis was the first player that came to my mind because of the childhood memories. So Jordan always gets his flowers. And also, we don't think of him as 45. We think of him as 23. Chili Davis is the pick for me. Special shout out. And I don't think there's too many people shouting out Chili Davis. So I'm going to do it here today.
All right. Well, my number 45, and actually I addressed this in the comments section. James said Bob Gibson or Rudy Tomjanovich. James, the rules are we have to have had that watched. We've had to have had watched them play in our time. So unless you're in your 50s or 60s,
I didn't even watch Bob Gibson, so I can't go there.
I understand what you're trying to go with, James, but our rules are we have to had watched them, and none of us were. I mean, I wasn't certainly alive to watch Rudy Tomjanovich or Bob Gibson. I remember Rudy coaching.
Yes, me too.
That's right.
95 Rockets, 95. Yeah.
That's right.
But I don't ever recall ever seeing him playing. But I do remember the punch by Kermit.
That's
Williams,
right. Kermit.
But that was before I started watching basketball. And Bob Gibson, although he's great, we never saw him play.
Yeah.
So try again. But the player who wore number 45 before Chili Davis joined the Yankees, who wore number 45 as a Yankee in 1996 and 1997. My personal favorite, number 45, Cecil Fielder.
Oh yeah. Oh man, how could I forget about Cecil Fielder?
Yeah, he originally, when he came into the league, he wore number 23 with the Blue Jays. Then he wore 45 with the Tigers because he spent his first 4 seasons with Toronto. Went to Japan for a season. Played with the Hanshin Tigers. You know what his nickname was with the Hanshin Tigers?
I can't imagine.
Wild Bear.
Oh man, that fits.
He hit
that does fit. Oh man,
he hit 302 with 38 home runs and 81 RBIs and 384 at bats in 1989 with the Hanshin Tigers. Then he joined the Detroit Tigers in 1990 and had his breakout season there. Won the MVP. He was second in MVP All-Star voting. MVP voting. Was an All-Star for the first time. Was a Silver Slugger. He was acquired by the Yankees at the trade deadline in 1996. Originally wore number 25 in 1996 when they won the World Series, but then switched to 45 the next season when he played full time with the Yankees. But he had a great season with the Yankees in 96. At the trade deadline, hit 13 home runs in 53 games with them. In the postseason, he did pretty well, contributing to the Yankees' numbers with their World Series run. Hit 391 in the World Series. In 23 at bats, he had 9 hits, 2 doubles, and 2 RBI. So he hit 391 in the World Series. Playing for, I believe he played first base in 96.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Or he played DH, but I remember his breakout season in 1990 after he went to Japan for a season, just kind of get himself straightened out, and apparently he got himself straightened out for that season because he became one of the most notable home run hitters of that era. But he's kind of low. He's one of those low key guys.
Yeah.
In terms of home run hitters, because he hasn't come up right away in 90s home run hitters. You think of the Maguires, you think of the Bonds, you think of the Griffey Juniors, you think of Sosa. You don't think immediately Frank Thomas. You don't think of Cecil Fielder, who led
Cecil Fielder top 50 home runs, so he ought to be in that conversation.
He hit 50 home runs in 1990, hit 44 home runs in 91, led the American League both those seasons. And his numbers did start to drop after that. But in terms of my favorite number 45, because he wore it with the Yankees, but he also wore it with the Anaheim Angels in 1998 when he signed with them. And he concluded his career in 1998 after being traded to Cleveland. He wore number 33. But in my mind, he'll always be number 45. The Wild Bear, Cecil Fielder. We do have to have one honorable mention, though. It's Pedro Martinez. Even though he played for the Red Sox, he started his career in Montreal with the Expos.
Yes, he did.
Actually, he started his career as a Los Angeles Dodger and got traded.
Oh,
that's right.
That's one of the great, awful trades that have ever been made.
Yep. And then he got himself sorted out in Montreal, became one of the best pitchers of the modern era.
Yeah.
But
that's one way to say it, yeah.
But he ended his career in 2009 by getting shelled in Game 6 of the World Series by our New York Yankees. So, my New York Yankees and Dustin's New York Yankees. But I guess he's serving on a panel on Fox Sports now with Poppy and whoever else is there. I just saw this on Twitter. I forgot to mention. I didn't notice this until now. The Colorado Rockies last night hosted the Ryan meetup for everyone named Ryan. I wanted to do this. I was like, they're going to have the world's biggest meetup of people named Ryan.
Oh man,
men named Ryan, and there was a Ryan section. And in the 4th inning, Ryan McMahon went deep, and the Ryan section went nuts.
You know what? Ryan McMahon's been kind of like heating up, but he does this. He's a streaky player. But oh my God, Ryan, if you had flown out to Colorado and you didn't tell me, and then all of a sudden you just send me a selfie from Coors Field. That
Oh,
would
yeah.
have been awesome.
So if the Rockies do this next year, I want to be a part of it. I
Yeah.
totally want to be a part of it.
You definitely
gotta
need to
go.
sign up for that. And Dustin, you hit this right on the head because he had a home run yesterday. You know what he also did? He struck out 4 times
Yeah.
in the same game.
Yeah, because every year you get kind of like lured into him in fantasy baseball. You're like, Ryan McMahon's starting to heat up, and then you're like, he's gonna tank my batting average. Can't do it.
All right, we gotta get out of here. And
Also, because I didn't mention this about Kenny Easley, he was known as the Enforcer. Now, you tell me a better nickname than that. The Enforcer tells you everything you need to know about Kenny Easley.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Anytime you're taking the nickname from Arn Anderson, you're doing a good job.
That's right. Or if you're taking the name of a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
all right, we gotta get out of here. Kevin, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, you can always find me on the Belly Up website. And I wrote an article this week. I dipped my toe into the college football side of things as I name my top 10 games coming into the 2025 season. So you definitely want to check that out. And Sunday nights, Vince and I in the Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball Show. And on Tuesday nights, Vince, Brian, and I, the Belly Up Live Football Show. I have sometime this weekend, we'll be posting my, because I do a weekly fantasy baseball MVP series. That'll come out this weekend. So all of that you can find on the Belly Up site. You can go to the Belly Up YouTube page and find me. You can go to Twitter at Kevin62 WILSEA. So I'm out there. Any questions, comments, criticisms, bring them to me.
All right, he's out there, and we're gonna get out of here. But before we do that, just want to remind you about our socials, which are right here on. You can follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required, and also follow check out our other podcasts and writing articles like Kevin's on BellyUpSports.com. On the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Pandora, iHeart, and our YouTube channel. And also don't forget to hit that notification button on Twitter and on YouTube so you're informed about show announcements, about everything in the No Credentials Required world. So we're going to get out of here and enjoy our respective Saturdays. Thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Kevin, for Dustin, I'm Ryan. We'll be back on Tuesday with our review of No Holds Barred, brother. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be something else. But we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend. Have a safe, happy, and cool weekend, no matter where you are. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Good morning, everybody.